What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the stimulus package updates, daily news, pretty much everything you need to know about what's going on in our country, what's going on in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market. Remember that new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As President Biden is going off to Europe for a climate kind of summit, a big deal over there, and they're trying to get an agreement and possibly vote today. I'll get to that here in a moment. They're trying to put together a framework for the stimulus package and try to hurry this along. Here's President Biden on a big announcement on this. I'll let you hear this, and then I'll explain to you what this means afterwards. So here's President Biden on this announcement. Check this out.
After months of tough and thoughtful negotiations, I know we have a historic economic framework. It's a framework that will create millions of jobs, grow the economy, invest in our nation and our people, turn the climate crisis into an opportunity and put us on a path not only to compete, but to win the economic competition for the 21st century against China and every other major country in the world. It's fiscally responsible. It's fully paid for. 17 Nobel Prize winners in economics have said it will lower the inflationary pressures on the economy. And over the next 10 years, it will not add to the deficit at all. It will actually reduce the deficit, according to economists. I want to thank my colleagues in the Congress for their leadership. We spent hours and hours and hours over months and months working on this. No one got everything they wanted, including me. But that's what compromise is. That's consensus. And that's what I ran on. I've long said compromise and consensus are the only way to get big things done in a democracy, important things done for the country. I know it's hard. I know how deeply people feel about the things that they fight for. But this framework includes historic investments in our nation and in our people. Any single element of this framework would fundamentally be viewed as a fundamental change in America. Taken together, they're truly consequential. I'll have more to say after I return from the critical meetings in Europe this week. But for now, let me lay out a few points. First, we face, and I apologize for saying this again, we face an inflection point as a nation. For most of the 20th century, we led the world by a significant margin because we invested in our people, not only in our roads and our highways and our bridges, but in our people and our families. We didn't just build an interstate highway system, we built a highway to the sky. We invested to win the space race, and we won. We're also among the first to provide access to free education for all Americans, beginning back in the late 1800s. That decision alone to invest in our children and their families was a major part of why we were able to lead the world for much of the 20th century. But somewhere along the way, we stopped investing in ourselves, investing in our people. America is still the largest economy in the world. We still have the most productive workers and most innovative minds in the world. But we've risked losing our edge as a nation. Our infrastructure used to be rated the best in the world. Today, according to the World Economic Forum, we ranked 13th in the world. We used to lead the world in educational achievement. Now the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development ranks America 35th out of the 37 major countries when it comes to investing in early childhood education and care. We know how our children start impacts significantly on how they'll finish. We can't be competitive in the 21st century global economy if we continue this slide. That's what I've said all along. We need to build America from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down, with the trickle-down economics that's always failed us. I can't think of a single time when the middle class has done well that the wealthy haven't done very well. I think of many times, including now, when the wealthy, the super wealthy, do very well, and the middle class don't do well. That's why I propose the investments Congress is now considering in two critical pieces of legislation. Positions I ran on as president, Positions I announced when I laid out in a joint session of Congress what my economic agenda was. These are not about left versus right, or moderate versus progressive, or anything else that pits Americans against one another. This is about competitiveness versus complacency. Competitiveness versus complacency. It's about expanding opportunity, not opportunity denied. It's about leading the world or letting the world pass us by.
So yeah, President Biden mentions that we're number 35th out of 37 first world countries in early childhood education. Ouch, that is not very good. Okay, so let's talk about this framework that they're releasing today before President Biden goes off to Europe. I'm going to be honest with you on what this is. This is a rush job. It's not even complete. Let's be honest here. They really don't, it's not really finalized. They don't even have an agreement on the Medicare. Joe Manchin's not agreed to this. It's not really finalized. It's just kind of they want to put together something before President Biden leaves so that they could kind of say they have a framework together. Now, Nancy Pelosi says they're going to maybe vote on this, but I don't, or the bipartisan infrastructure package that we'll get to here in a moment. But the thing is that this framework is not really even complete because they haven't even agreed on a lot of things like the Medicare provisions because they don't even know if Joe Manchin is going to go along with it. And Joe Manchin, who's apparently the most important person in the country, yeah, if I'm rolling my eyes there, because you need every single senator to support these things. Because if Joe Manchin doesn't come along with these things, they can't include him. So, they could include anything, but if you don't get every single senator's votes, including Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, you can't include this. So even with this framework, they don't even know if the Medicare provisions are going to be included to include hearing, dental, and vision for seniors, over 60 million seniors that are on Medicare. So this framework isn't even a completed framework. So, like I said, it's really just a rush job that they're trying to just kind of show something before President Biden goes off to this big meeting in Europe. So, as you can see here, President Biden releases slimmed down $1.75 trillion spending framework, cutting social benefits plan by over half. Now, what's interesting here is that the pay-fors are $1.95 trillion. So they're releasing the pay-fors, the tax raises, and again, all of that is kind of up in the air. Just as of last night, they have removed the billionaires tax where they were going to tax unrealized tax gains, basically tax gains on stocks and investments that you haven't even sold yet. That was just taken out as of last night. So pretty much things are literally changing by the hour. And what's interesting here is that they are actually doing pay-fors for over $200 billion more than this framework. Okay. What's interesting there is that you can include a stimulus check for adults for $200 billion. So it's interesting that they're doing that. They're going to do pay-fors for more than $200 billion more than the entire framework. I find that very, very interesting on why they would pay for more than the entire package. I don't know if they plan on throwing something in there at the very last moments. It's very interesting. Also, since Joe Manchin has a problem with almost every single thing in this package, the Medicare provisions for seniors, the hearing dental vision, the paid and family medical leave, The investments in affordable housing, the child tax credits, they want to extend those monthly payments for 1 year, $250 to $300. Those monthly stimulus checks that were passed from the third stimulus check package for about 65 million children. Remember, those are going to end on December 15th. They want to extend those for 1 more year in this package. They also need to do that actually before December 15th, because on December 3rd or around December 3rd, the debt limit is going to be reached, and they need to extend the debt limit again through this stimulus package, because the Republicans say they're not going to extend it this time around. The Republicans are not going to help because Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted them after the 11 Republicans helped them raise it last time, and Mitch McConnell and the Republicans say they're not going to help them again this time around, so that the Democrats have to raise it this time on their own, completely by themselves through this stimulus package. Nancy Pelosi sidestepped the question and said she basically didn't answer if they're actually going to do that. She said she would prefer to do it with the Republicans and basically left it at that. But Republicans said, we're not doing it with you. You have to do it on your own through the stimulus package in about 30 days from now, a little bit over 30 days. But none of the Democrats have confirmed if they're actually going to do that in this stimulus package. If they don't do that before the December 15th deadline for the next child tax credit payments, that payment probably wouldn't even go out because the Treasury would run out of money before then. And remember, we've seen President Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer say that Social Security payments would be delayed as well if they don't raise the debt limit ceiling from the last time. So they need to raise the debt limits, and this is for the next debt limits extension. This is basically, the debt limit is basically the Treasury's has to do this or else they run out of money. And if the government runs out of money, there's all sorts of consequences, and we really don't need that to happen. So they have to include that in the stimulus package. They have to pass the stimulus package for all these things to happen. So another thing that we're seeing a lot more of talk about, and that a lot of people are talking about, we actually had a recent study here that says an easier way to provide it to people is just to give them direct cash, direct stimulus checks, or just to provide money. And a lot of these indirect ways of doing all these government programs and providing childcare is great, providing free preschool is great, providing all the free college is great. The free college is out though. They're going to maybe revisit that in the next stimulus package. By the way, President Biden and the top Democratic leaders, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, have confirmed there will be another stimulus package after this. That's why they're kind of okay with just the 1.75 trillion, which ironically is exactly half the size of the 3.5 trillion dollars. I think that's why even Bernie Sanders is kind of okay with it being exactly half of the $3.5 trillion. The current plan is past the past the 1.75 trillion, past the infrastructure package, past both of those packages here as soon as possible. Then come back around for another stimulus package afterwards and get whatever they can agree on with that package. So there will be, Biden has confirmed, and Pelosi and Schumer, they've all confirmed there will be another stimulus package after this. And there might be a huge, massive Social Security raise in that as well. And to do that, they again will want to raise taxes on the wealthy. There's been two bills that they just released like 48 hours ago. I just did a big video on that, where they can apply a Social Security tax on people making over $400,000 and raise Social Security benefits for basically everybody else. So this has been a long goal of the Democrats to do that during this Congress session, which they have until the next midterm election. So there will be another stimulus package after this, and they have a lot of goals that they want to do here still before the next midterm election, when the House and the Senate go up for re-election. So this package is not the last package. There will be at least one more package after this one if not 2. They have about 12 more months to get these done before the House and Senate go up for re-election. So they're kind of just taking another bite at the apple. Let's get this package passed, get everything done in this package, and let's see what will be in the next package, and maybe a big raise for Social Security beneficiaries as well. That would be in addition to the 5.9% cost of living adjustment, the COLA adjustment, which was just announced, which is the largest COLA cost of living adjustment in 38 years. So I think the average cost or the average Social Security beneficiary gets like $1,532 a month or somewhere around that. And the average amount there is going to be raised by about $92 a month. Now, of course, if you make more than that, you're going to get more than that. If you make less than that, you're going to get less than that. The average amount is around $1,532 a month. I did a video where we went kind of over how much everybody's going to get based on your dollar amount, but you can figure it out based on 5.9%. You know, some people are going to get $40 a month, $50 a month, $60 a month, all the way up to $200 a month. The average person, if you're around that $1,500 a month mark, is going to get an additional $90 a month more. But it's the largest cost of living adjustment raise in 38 years. But they want to do additional raises in addition to that, more than just the cost of living adjustment. I just did a video on that. I'll link you to that at the end of this video. Some really big things that the Democrats want to do here, probably in the next stimulus package. So, yeah, there's some really big things that they want to do here. But there's been a recent study that says it's a much more efficient way to provide to people to just give them direct cash, give them direct stimulus, a stimulus check, and let them just use the money for bills, for food, for clothing, for whatever they need. And this kind of cuts out the pork, it cuts out the wasteful spending, and we may see that. Remember, we seen in the second stimulus check package where at the very last moment they added in a second stimulus check, and especially because we have, and hopefully we see something like this in addition to the child tax credits, those monthly checks to children that are going out to 65 million children. There's also the proposal for the $800 stimulus debit card, the $800 Medicare voucher for Medicare recipients for medical or for dental, an $800 kind of stimulus debit card is kind of the easiest way to say it, that you could use for medical or for dental. Um, that could be turned into a check. And we have a lot of advocacy groups pushing to add a fourth stimulus check in there for adults, anywhere from $1,400 to $2,000. And because Joe Manchin is against so many of these different programs, and the pay fors that they did is almost, it's like 200 to $250 billion. It just came out. I have to go and look through it. But ironically, they've made the pay fors, the amount of tax increases, and honestly, if I go back to what I said here at the beginning, all of this stuff is literally changing by the hour, and it's not completed because they don't even have an agreement on the Medicare, and they don't have an agreement on a lot of these pay-fors. Kirsten Sinema doesn't agree with them. Joe Manchin doesn't agree with them. They just literally took out the billionaires tax last night. So this framework is not really even a framework because it's not agreed to. Let me get to the voting here really quick. Manchin and Sinema sidestep saying if they support the Biden framework. Yeah, imagine that. You can't make this stuff up, right? Because you can't even make this stuff up, guys, because they don't even want to say if they support it because they probably don't. So they have to literally negotiate through all this stuff uh, piece by piece, literally item by item, line by line. And yet Nancy Pelosi vows to bring a vote on the infrastructure bill today. Today. But the Progressive Caucus is saying, we're not going to vote on this today until we have an agreement on the stimulus package. As you can see here, progressives say reconciliation framework not enough. to pass the infrastructure package, or the infrastructure bill. Yeah, infrastructure package. Progressives reeling after moderates inflict savage new blow to spending bill. So, I mean, like I said, this framework is really it's a patch job of them trying to say, hey, look, we put together something before Biden goes to Europe. The progressives are in a fit. Manchin's not, and Cinema aren't even supporting it. Uh, they're trying their best to get it done. I mean, God bless their heart. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they're trying to get this done as fast as possible. But I mean, honestly, it's all Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. I mean, look at these guys. They won't even say if they support it. So honestly, there's still some work left to do. And honestly, I think it would be a lot easier and a lot better for the American people if they use this extra money and they take out some of these things they disagree with, not the Medicare provisions. I definitely think that needs to be in there for seniors. They can use some of this extra money and just include a stimulus check in there for adults, some direct cash relief. Remember, this is exactly what they went through with the second stimulus check package, and then they added in that second stimulus check at the very last moment for the second stimulus check. So we've kind of been through this before. They added that in at the very last moment. So call, email, tweet, write your senators, write Bernie Sanders, Cori Bush, Representative Cori Bush. He's one advocating for this right now. AOC, Pramila Jayapal, email them, tweet them on Twitter and say, hey, we need a check for adults in addition to the child tax credit checks. Children seem to be taken care of right now with the child tax credits. It's looking like they're not going to fall into Joe Manchin's demands for the work requirements and the income thresholds. I think nobody's mentioned anything about it in 48 hours, but that doesn't mean that Joe Manchin's not going to demand it later today. Nancy Pelosi wants to vote on the infrastructure package today. I don't know how they could possibly do that. God bless her heart for trying to get things done. I mean, like I said, God bless her, but how they could vote on it and get it done today when the Democratic caucus is just in fits, um, I am at a loss for words because they have to literally have everybody solid as a rock, everybody in agreement. Like they need 270 Democrats, 220 Democrats from the House, and 50 Democrats from the Senate, all basically saying we all agree. And that is I don't think they're there right this moment. They need to have all 270 saying we all agree. Joe Manchin's our best friend. Kirsten Sinema's our best friend. AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, we're all singing Kumbaya. They need for one moment everybody to sing Kumbaya and be best friends. And it doesn't seem like they're there at this moment. If they're not best friends for one single moment, they can't pass it. So remember, they need every single Democratic senator to say yes, all 50, and they need 99% of them in the House. They can afford like 3 votes to say no. So if you have Joe Manchin saying no or Kirsten Sinema saying no, there's no deal. And the progressive Democratic caucus, 96 of them in the House, are very aware of that. They don't want to pass the infrastructure package without a either ironclad deal from Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema first, or passing the stimulus package first. I think they'd rather pass the stimulus package first so that they know that Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema aren't going to go back on their word. I think that'd be the better alternative. But there's this big push to pass the infrastructure package first. So possibly vote on it today, which I mean, they're really trying to push that and get it done. Which the problem is that this surface transportation funding is going to expire at the end of this month. And they already had done a temporary bill to extend that for 30 days. If they don't pass that before the end of this month, they're going to have to extend that again through another standalone bill for another, who knows, 30 days. There's a lot going on here. So I'll keep you up to date here. They're very, very close, but they need Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema to come on board. And we literally could have a deal done at any given moment. So major announcements from the Democratic caucus, but yet they need total agreement. So let me know your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe down below. I'll keep you up to date with everything here. Remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to see my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is my new video on 2 new Social Security raise bills. Very big information there. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.